What is good? I go by Osiris. The channel is Middle MAGA. The show is Stuck in the Middle. And this is a good example, another good example of why I am stuck in the middle. Over the last break here that I had from Christmas, I was on kind of vacation. I uploaded a video about, it wasn't really about Andrew Tate, but he was in it with Greta Thunberg. And in that video, and then there's another video as well where I talked about how I'm not a big fan of Andrew Tate's overt, I guess you could call masculinity. I guess that's what he would call it. But his brazenness, it's like, it's too much. It's a forced act. I think he's hiding pain and hurt. And I never talked about Andrew Tate because I don't really talk about people like that. I talk about more ideas, and I've used some of his clips. So I just want to kind of air out where I am with it. But it was bizarre to me because even friend of show, Katie Maria and others were like, I'm disappointed in your take on Andrew Tate. And I didn't even really have a take on Andrew Tate. I just did a couple quick videos with a bad mic. I'll give you my take on Andrew Tate, though. And there's no beef to anybody supporting him. Appreciate you checking out the channel. I just want to air out. And the surprise that I have is that people thought that I would rock with that nigga. What made you think that I would rock with a nigga like that? Let's break it up into part of my strength, I think, is being able to compartmentalize things. So if Nancy Pelosi says something that's based, I will agree with it. I don't care that it's Nancy Pelosi, somebody who I will make fun of at times, and obviously I don't agree with on many things. Same with Andrew Tate. Let's talk about how this dude, first of all, how he became rich.
Friend, she's my girl. You're all my chick, and you're gonna stay here, and we're gonna make some money. 3 left, 2 stayed, and we started this little webcam business from my apartment. Got to the point where at one point I had 75 women working for me in 4 locations. I had one girl, and she got too drunk one day, and she threw up in my apartment. I told her to clean up. She refused to clean up. Started being an idiot. So I took her stuff, threw out the window. If all the other girls see me be disrespected, they're gonna lose respect for me. Fact. I didn't want to fire her, which is more reason why I had to fire her ass. Got her shit out the window, so threw her out the window. Got her by her 2 arms and marched her out the door, locked the door. Texted me, you owe me my last month's wages. I ain't paying you nothing. She went to the police and told the police I hit her.
This is how it starts. This is how law enforcement involvement with him starts.
5 in the morning, 4 months later, and I heard the door, boom, boom, and I heard police. There's a few things I can't say in the podcast. I've lived a varied life.
That is a form of self-snitching.
Basically, in part, how he became rich. The dude starts a cam girl business. This is all well documented, and if I'm wrong, tell me where I'm wrong. He starts a cam girl business, which there's nothing illegal with that, nothing wrong. I fully support it being legal. He's basically doing his own prawn hub or OnlyFans type of thing. Go do you. But he starts it out doing that, being a manipulative person, trying to get women to do that work for him.
We're talking about assets, liabilities, etc. And I'm writing down all my assets. And I'm trying to work out what I have that's worth money. And the only thing I writ down, because I had a car, but what's that worth? Nothing. I'm big and strong, but I'm already fighting. I can't think of anything else to do with that. The only thing I had was, because I've been fighting all around the world, I had these 6 girlfriends, right? Because you'd win the world title, you fuck a ring girl, she falls in love with you, you're the big millionaire in London, of course. She thinks you live in the balling life. You're in some tiny apartment with the door locked. So, I had these girlfriends, and I thought, well, I can't open a strip club. It costs money to open a strip club. And I'm kind of racking my brain, and by absolute coincidence, I'm going around the internet, and I saw in the corner, Talk to Live Girls Now. And I'd never in my life, I was never a porn guy. I've never been watching porn or clicking on these things. And I said, Talk to Live Girls. So I clicked on it, and there's some chick there on a computer, like, hi. And I was like, my girls can do that. So that was the very beginning. That was the eureka moment.
So go ahead and do that. And I think he's a great business philosophical mind, but that doesn't mean it's something I respect. So he starts off his whole, becoming rich and all his wealth, and I respect him. He was a kickbox fighter. I guess I'm not an expert in all that, which takes discipline and hard work, and I respect that part. But when you manipulate other people in the chase of paper, it doesn't matter if it's legal or not. I can look at it and say it's not for me. I'm not judging Tate. I'm just saying what he did there is not for me, and that's not a bruh that I really mess with. That's not a bruh that I associate with. That's not a bruh I'm going to bat with. So how he starts off his business, and we'll get to his other business as well, why I compared him to Jack Murphy, in a second. So he starts off with that. That's how he gets rich. But then it's not good enough to get rich based off of that. Because when you're chasing money, when you're chasing material items, then that chase never ends. It's no different than the elitists that are running the matrix that he talks about. So his paper chase is not ending. It keeps on going. You can never have enough paper if that's your goal in life. There's always somebody with more paper than you. There's always a house. There's always a crib. There's always a car. There's always an item that you could get if you put more people to work. That's why he talked about he had 75 girls working for him at one time because he's chasing that paper. And he's like, it didn't work because basically my paraphrasing is 75 girls are harder to manipulate than a couple few. So he does that. Then he flashes his wealth and his cars and these material items. I believe when we are all in that dirt 6 feet under, at least our physical bodies, none of that matters. So why would I respect that now? I don't respect this bruh because of his cars and his homes and his wealth. I believe whether there's a God or not, because that's my faith, but I don't know if that's real or not. That's why it's a faith. After we're gone and done, if I were to look back on my life, I wouldn't look back and say, oh, I had a big house. I had a good life. Oh, I had a Bugatti. I had a good life. I had a Tesla Cybertruck. I had a good life. Those are just adult toys. Do you look back at your childhood and say, oh, I had that Spider-Man. I had that Transformer. I had that Cabbage Patch Kid, you can tell when I grew up. I had that Beanie Baby. I had a good life. This dude is a grown man who acts like a child. So here's where I compartmentalize. I have used probably in literally 2 videos, clips from him where he has his based bro takes.
Do you wonder if that is part of the phenomenon of Andrew Tate?
People are scared to say that water is wet. And then I come along and say water is wet, and everybody secretly agrees, and that's why I have such a massive fan base. But did you see with your own eyes a pandemic? Did you see people collapsing in the street? Did you see hospitals overrun? Did you see ambulances running back and forth? No, you did not. You did not see a
pandemic of disinformation coming from the mainstream media.
This shows how important it is for them to teach us to ignore our own eyes. Because you don't see a pandemic, but you still walk around and talk about a pandemic. Once they can convince you to ignore your own senses, then the slavery is complete. They no longer need to actually change reality. They can just tell you the sky is green and you will sit and you will comply. And that's what they're scared of. They're scared of people like me inspiring people to act.
That's where our interests converge just in that little bit. So how he gained his wealth, our interests don't converge. But when he talks about the matrix, like we're all living in the matrix, I agree with that. And he might be one of the best ever at articulating those points that's in an entertaining, concise, easy to digest. He's even better than Alex Jones at it, but he doesn't do a long podcast format. Like he doesn't host his own show is what I mean. But he might be one of the best at sound bites for bringing people to understanding the corruption and the world we live in. That's where my interests intersect with him, and that's it. So I might support him. I might take some of those clips. I might use them on the show and say, you go ahead, you preach that. But what I'm doing, though, is not supporting him, not backing him. I'm saying I can take those clips and use it for my purposes. My goal is, I have various goals. One of them is just to get these thoughts off of my head. But the other one, I like to see the populace left and right. I don't have any better. A lot of people don't like me using those terms. How else do you describe Steve Bannon and Jimmy Dore? They're not the same people. So however you want to describe it, I'd like to see those groups work together. I'd like to see us go away from an identitarian society. I would like to see the term MAGA communism not rub people the wrong way because these terms trigger you. I would like to see people look at the content of what the proposal is. So Tate is very good at identifying the problem. He's great at that. He's great at articulating the problem. Great at that. And some people were asking, who's Tate? Why are you calling him Tate? I'm calling him Tate because I can call him whatever the hell I want to call him. He's great at those things. And that's where I'll use those clips to further my video. I used them in the FBS FTX video because he had another base bro take there. But that's it. What do you do with those ideas? That's why I have a virtue signal with the ice on here. Not just because it's a great comic book and my kids love it. It really makes you think, detective work, makes you read it multiple times to say, oh, why did this happen? Why did this happen? Very much like Batman. I know Young July doesn't like this comparison, at least when some people make it, but I do see comparisons between Luke Cage and a mix of Batman in there, and just forget all that great storytelling. It's not just because of that. It's because Eric DeLay sees the problem, the same problems that we talk about on this channel. What's his solution? His solution is to make a comic book that's apolitical. There's no politics in there. There's no libertarianism in there as far as like relating to like modern day issues like you might see in other indie comics or even Marvel and other comics, hints at MAGA and this and that, putting politics into the comics. He didn't do that. He just wanted to make something that was apolitical because that is more powerful than politics. So he saw the problem and he did that. I support that. Tim Pool, very similar. Sees the problem, but does his music stuff. Bryson Gray sees the problem, does hip hop. No swearing in his work. He doesn't compromise his beliefs. Those are people who I don't know them, but in what they do as the solution, I advocate for. So what's Tate's solution? His solution is to do the Jack Murphy BS where it's like, and don't get me wrong, Jack Murphy's great. He hasn't done an upload in months. Dude is very bright, very well read, very smart. I'm not saying they're not smart. I'm not saying you can't learn from them. What I'm saying is their solution is, well, let's go back to Tate. His solution is, let's start this war room or this whatever, this cult type thing where you give me $6,000 or you give me $50 a month and I'll help you get rich. I'll help teach you how to start a cam girl business.
He's extremely vague with what the War Room really is.
The War Room is a private network. That's the most I can say. Kind of imagine the Freemasons of old.
What we do know is that the War Room is like the Freemasons, which some consider to be a cult. We know it's a secret organization. We know that members have to pay to be in it, as well as compete to prove their value to the organization.
Go do you. If you support him, that's fine. I don't know why it's a controversial take for me to say, I think he's a scumbag. I don't know why that's a controversial take. He can have base bro takes and still be a scumbag. A lot of these people with base bro takes are scumbags. That ain't surprising. So that's where I intersect where I agree, and then after that, you do you, you're on your own, I don't support you. All right, so that's where I'm going to leave this one, and that doesn't mean he should be censored. I didn't say that, I don't believe that. He should have free speech. It doesn't mean that I think the government should run up in his crib. I don't know if this is what happened or not. I made no allegations about whether he's guilty or not. I don't even know the full story there. But I will say a couple things. I will say whether the pizza box, everybody's talking about, did the pizza box dox him or not? We don't know. A Romanian lawyer said that they didn't use the pizza box. Are you believing a Romanian lawyer? I don't know if they would have a reason to lie about that or not, but I'm not just believing that on face value. The timing is funny, regardless. And regardless, that was stupid. He doxed his location based on the pizza box. That's a fact. Whether they used it or not against him to find him and hem him up, I don't know. But it is a fact that he was stupid, that he was caught slipping in this stupid marketing beef with Greta Thunberg. So that's where I'm at with him. The government shouldn't be reaching out if that's the case, going after people because they say things they don't like. I don't support that. But I can also say he's a scumbag. Let me know what you think. I might have to do some more to talk about it, get more in detail with this bruh. Let me know what you think. Take care.